This is the first part of it, and one of the things that we wanted you to be able to do when you come to eTourism Summit is to see what's next. So so we've sort of been researching for the last year new companies that some of them are in beta form, and some of them have just launched in the last week or so. There are 2 or 3 that have just launched. And these are 6-minute presentations on new products that are sort of coming out, or applications that are coming out in the travel space. And so we're really honored to have them here. And Goose Chase, everybody's already familiar with. So, but they're going to make just brief presentations, and then afterwards, if there's time, we'll go into some Q&A about what they're doing.
Hi, good morning, everybody. My name is Mark Carr. A little bit of history about myself. I founded my first mobile-related company about 10 years ago, which grew to become the fastest-growing technology company in Australia, as ranked by Deloitte, the 3rd out of the top 500 in the Asia-Pacific region. And I've been very active in the mobile space for well over 10 years. More recently, I co-founded a company called Leadbolt, which is now one of the world's leading high-performance mobile ad networks. So, what about the mobile landscape? Let's have a look at it. There are nearly 46 billion apps projected to be downloaded this year alone. It's expected to grow to 300 billion in 2016. A very interesting statistic is 89% of all apps downloaded are free. Sure. Some travel-related statistics: 85% of leisure travelers use their mobile phones while abroad. 29% of travelers have used mobile apps to find flight deals. 30% have used mobile apps to find hotel deals. 15% have downloaded mobile apps specific to upcoming vacations. So ad-supported apps are really the key to the future of app development. Who's Leadbolt? Well, Leadbolt was founded about 2 years ago and is now the 4th most integrated ad network on the Android marketplace. Leadbolt focuses on monetizing apps and getting distribution for advertisers. We achieve high eCPMs for our publishers and great ROI for our advertisers. Simply put, we help advertisers get high-quality traffic and engagement. We have a team of industry-leading mobile executives as well as technology experts across multiple platforms and operating systems. We support over 50,000 applications in over 100 countries with thousands of advertisers. In the short time we've been around, we have already won many awards and have been internationally recognized from our achievements, as you can see. So what do? We've developed a methodology to monetize apps with what we call the lifecycle approach. How this works is every app has 3 main stages: entry, engage, and exit. We have designed multiple ad units for every stage. The result is in us being able to monetize every point of engagement within the app usage. In the slide, you can see the various ad units for the various different types of cycles that we have. So here are an example of some of the ad units we have. As you can see, there's capture forms, banner ads, app icons, push notifications, video, advanced overlays, app walls, interstitials, and in-app alerts. We support native ads, rich media, HTML5. How do we differ ourselves from the competitors? Is through continual innovation and giving results. So here's a colorful slide just showing a few of the brands that we work with. Some of the reasons they choose to work with us is because of our leading-edge technology, self-service developer and advertiser platform, real-time bidding and reporting, API interfaces, cloud-based infrastructure. We offer 24/7 support and account management across multiple time zones. Here are a few testimonials of just a few of our happy customers. So if you're looking to go mobile or just want to learn a little more about the mobile space, please feel free to reach out to me. My email address is on the slide. You can also, I'll give it to you, it's mark@leadbolt.com. And if you have any questions after, please feel free to reach out to me. Thank you very much.
So my name is Adam Rugel. I'm the founder and CEO of a company called Trazzler, and we're also in the mobile space and provide a sort of a content management platform and mobile apps for DMOs. But I was going to talk more generally about mobile trends in mobile and what it means for DMOs more broadly. I was going to start with a little story my mom just told me. She was out here for the 2nd time in 3 months visiting her new grandson. And the 2nd trip she came without my father. And I learned something new about my dad on this visit from my mom. Apparently, he gets them lost on every trip that they take, and has been for 41 years. And it's made travel sort of miserable for her for a long time. But something changed on a recent trip. They were in Paris, and she had her own maps, turn-by-turn directions. And it actually was a pretty dramatic thing for her. They didn't get lost, and it's the first time they didn't get lost in a long time. And it got me thinking about sort of what I'm doing, and I started this company from the original Twitter offices, and we got our first grant from the Facebook Fund. And all these things are really important, social is critically important. But my parents, you know, they sort of use Facebook, they understand what Twitter is, but they were never really immersed in those things. But mobile is different, and I think it's different for every demographic. I mean, from kids to parents to grandparents, I mean, everybody has their heads down in their mobile devices. And I think what that means for people in the travel industry is pretty dramatic. I mean, the way that people consume content is changing. And I guess the question is, for DMOs and for all of us in the travel information space, you know, what are we going to do about it, and what's the plan? So I think because of the way that the phone's location services work, and because of the way that travel information is organized, whether you're planning a trip, you're at home and you're planning a trip, or you're already on vacation and you're looking for something to do, sort of the location is the core unit of travel information. That's how information is organized on the phone. Because you want to know, what are the places that are near where I'm going, and if I am somewhere, what is there to do around me? And so I think when you think about content in the mobile space, first you're talking about a listing. What is the place, and how can it be plotted on a map? And I think that's sort of the starting point for how you organize information. You need places in a database that can be plotted on a map. But that's just the starting point. That's sort of the cost of entry. You're not really going to get anywhere or differentiate yourself with just a listing. So you've got listings, you've got places, and so I think what makes content stand out in a mobile environment, you've got Apple and you've got Google, who provide some pretty solid information. You've got services like TripAdvisor and Yelp, who are also sort of comprehensive yellow pages. And so as a destination marketer, what are you doing to make the places in your region stand out and be unique and different? And so I think the answer is narrative. It's telling stories about these places with photographs and with writing. And that's how you sort of differentiate the places in your region from sort of a 3.5-star review. Your region's not sort of made up of a 3 and a 3.5 and a 4-star. It's made up of stories about places, and I think that's what context is. And you provide that with writing. You provide it with photos, preferably good photos. And you provide it with deals and events. So there are places, and there are deals on those places if they're restaurants and hotels. And then there are events. There are calendar-based events. And so I think that's the kind of context that differentiates mobile content from the sort of yellow pages services that are out there. Now, you don't have to take my word for it that this is important. I mean, we've all heard about sort of the fight between Google's Maps product and Apple's product, and so the reason for that fight is context about places. The devices produce a tremendous amount of information that these companies are then synthesizing and using to provide context about places. It's huge, and I think it's I think a big part of what Instagram was in the Facebook acquisition is they have millions and millions of photos about places, and at some point in the near future we're going to see them use those photos to provide context about places. Groupon and Living Social and Gilt Group and all these companies that are doing deals, it's basically context about places. So as a DMO, I think what you can do with context is huge. So if you're able to provide context about places, it's a way not only to provide value to business owners, to members, to constituents, but it's also a way to engage them and say, hey, look, we're trying to present you in a unique light. How can you participate? Can we get photography from you? Can we get you to participate? I think the same thing is true of locals. Like any product that you have out in the mobile space should be strong enough that it would be applicable to locals as well. And once you start to do that and you have a voice that's strong enough that locals like, they can feed back into that and provide photography back into that, into that product. And for visitors as well. So you're providing information to visitors, but how do you inspire them to contribute photography back to these places? When you do that, your account, you ask for an account creation process. So you have to create an account to submit photos. You do that through Facebook, you do that through Twitter, and then content can be automatically pushed back out to those networks. So I think if you're able to provide context, you're able to sort of inspire all of your constituents, they're pushing that stuff out to social media, and it's sort of a virtuous cycle that improves everything. And then that content can be talked about. How do you fill how do you feed the beast? There's Twitter, there's Facebook, there's Pinterest. How do you feed the beast? What are you where's the content coming from to feed these social networks? Well, it should be coming from you. It should be coming from inspiring your constituents to produce that content that you can then use not only in your own products, but also in social media, on Facebook. That's the stuff that you push through. And at the end of the day, when you can get people engaged on mobile devices, particularly in apps, but on mobile websites as well, it's lead generation. So these are people that you can remarket to. So if you can get them to download an application, most chances are they're not going to delete that application immediately after they leave. You can remarket to those people through push notifications. So it's not just about, the presentation of the content on the mobile device. It's also a way to inspire that person to engage with you, that you can capture an email address that you can remarket to them. And you can check out what we do on our website, and that's my email address if you want to chat about anything.
I send out instructions, and just but we really want to see what your product does, okay? Because they don't, the overall, and I know you've got a project going with Mendocino, and for a minute, if you could just tell us what that is. Sure. And how they're using Trazzler.
Travel Lane County is a partner as well. So basically, we've been around for 4 or 5 years, and we have a content platform. And so when DMOs work with us, they tap into their SimpleView CMS or the database where they take places, and they dump it all into our system. And then we make that stuff available through branded mobile applications. And DMOs can log in through our website. And so all the content that comes in through our central website or from the branded mobile application can be curated. They can pick the best writing in photography and sort of showcase that stuff within the app and then pull it out to use in print materials or mobile websites or whatever. So it's basically, it's mobile applications, but the real value is the sort of content moderation platform on the back end. And if you go to the App Store on iPhone, you can search for Trazzler. We have a parent app, and then there's also a San Francisco app, which is pretty good for information around here. So.
Good afternoon. My name is Jed Weisberg. I'm the CEO and founder of WenCorp. First, let me thank Jake for inviting me and the rest of the folks at eTourism. So at WenCorp, we're really looking at 2 problems here. The first is that your clients are on a variety of different services looking at travel content. And what they don't see are the schedules of the actual events that are going on at your locations. There's almost no way to get that data of local things that are happening onto these services. And that's a lost opportunity. The other issue we see is that your listings of events is an incredible trove of valuable content that we have not yet figured out a way of taking and distributing out wide so that it is used by people. My background was first as a puppeteer. That was a while ago. And anyone wants to talk about that, I'm happy to do it. And then most recently, I was the GM of the Huffington Post. And many of you know that product, but really the genius there was our CTO developed a distribution platform, better than anybody had at the time. And one of the things we always said was, given the new digital age, distribution is marketing. And that's really what we're trying to solve here, is to help you take your event content and turn that into amazing services that you can distribute. So to give you a kind of 30,000-foot overview of what WenCorp does, we bring in your event listings either manually or via a feed from your service. We do a variety of different things to that content, which I'll talk about in a second. And then we distribute it wide across the internet to any service we possibly can, so that wherever your potential clients are, they can see what's really going on in your local area. So they're not just seeing, hey, there's this museum. They're seeing there's a lecture at this museum on Wednesday. Incredibly valuable content. So to give you an idea of what that looks like, This is one of our current clients, the CVB of Pensacola. This is our Facebook scheduling page. We're taking a live feed from their CMS, we're putting it as a tab onto Facebook, and we're allowing people to search across that. There are other things going on in the background as well, which is we're automatically creating Facebook events, we're automatically adding it to the Facebook timeline, to their Twitter timeline, a variety of different services that we add. But the general idea is we've taken that content in and we are distributing it wide. Now, what we actually do in the back end is a variety of different things. First of all, unfortunately, a lot of your listing content is not structured so that search engines can actually do anything with it. So we are bringing that content to our service, and we're structuring it so that it is highly indexable by the search engines. So now that's discoverable content for them. The second thing we're doing is if you look at a lot of your content for event listings, it looks like this. You're giving me the title, you're giving me the location, and probably a little bit of editorial around it. But what we then do is automatically generate content that looks like this. We're going out on the internet and finding all the other meta sources out there so that your content becomes highly valuable. What are the YouTube videos for that festival that is at your location? What are the tweets that happened about that location? What are the Instagram photos? We bring that all together, and wherever we're distributing your content, we add that as part of the feed. So now when a client actually goes to look at your event listings, they not only get the event, but they get all the information around it, and it becomes more interesting to them. Finally, what we're providing to you is a whole series of different analytics. How are people actually looking at your events? What are they looking at, and what are they doing with that? And we're not only doing it from your website, but we're doing it across the different distribution networks that we have. So how are people looking at that in the local newspaper? What events are they looking at, and how are they using that? So that's kind of a general overview. Obviously, please come talk to me, and I'll give you more details about it. But again, the general concept of what WenCorp is about is we bring in your event listings, we do a variety of different structured things around it, meta tags, structuring the data, and then we distribute it out everywhere so that is in front of your potential client. That's the 30,000 foot. So the other thing I want to talk about today is actually a new product that we'll be launching in a couple of weeks in beta. I can show it to you if you come talk to me. But essentially, for those of you that are familiar with Flipboard, we're building the Flipboard of events. And that really does a variety of different things. First of all, it presents event data in a beautiful format. It's not a listings. It's not like an Excel spreadsheet. Just like a beautiful article on an iPad or on a mobile, it's a beautiful thing to look at. The second thing we're doing is we're not really aggregating event listings, because the truth is people don't want this incredible stream of information. What they want to know is what you recommend. So what we've gone out is partnered with a variety of different editorial channels in your locations, and we're providing what are the 3 or 4 events that they recommend during that week. So for example, in the New York area where the company is located, we've partnered with the New York Times, we've partnered with Time Out, we've partnered with a variety of different online newspapers, we've partnered with local mommy bloggers, and it's all about the 4 or 5 events that they recommend. Now, the way we're actually distributing this product is kind of interesting. We began thinking, okay, this will be an iPad product, we'll put it on the store, and then we started going to concierges in hotels. And we realized that this became an incredibly valuable tool for the concierges to offer to their clients. I have 1 more minute, by the way. And essentially what we saw happening was concierges were building their own channels. And it was their own channel that they could personalize to their clients. So if they knew that I was going to be in New York between Monday and Wednesday, the system will automatically only show events Monday to Wednesday. What's the point of showing you an event on Thursday? There is none. So it became this incredible opportunity where the concierge becomes a content channel into their client. And that's also what the CVBs are doing in our test markets. The CVBs are creating channels where they're recommending events for that 1 week or 2 week period that you're actually there. And so what we're seeing here is that this becomes an opportunity for the CVBs to offer to their members an incredible product that they can use in their hotels to offer to their clients. We can go into what the monetization there is, but what we're seeing is a huge take-up by concierges. So that's kind of the overview. Our main product is this distribution of your event listings. wide so that everyone can see it wherever they are. And the new product is this Flipboard for events. Thank you very much.
All right, well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ted Evers. I'm the founder of TripTuner, the unique new way to discover your next destination. It's my first eTourism Summit, so thank you, Jake, for inviting me, and thank you all for attending. Now, first off, so I'm an entrepreneur, and this is my baby, so you can only imagine that you're probably going to hear, a lot of glowing comments about my own creation, right? But so to try to avoid that, I'm going to let some of our fans tell you what they think of it. So the first thing they're saying is, wow, this is so much fun. Not only fun, but it's super amazing. I'm not making this up. This is just the presentation did itself pretty much. And that it's addictive. And that's exactly what we were trying to do when we created TripTuner. The idea really happened about 14 years ago. I had a really comfy corporate sales job, and I left it to travel around the world. All I had was an around-the-world plane ticket and a bunch of guidebooks, and I found it was really hard to kind of figure where to go and to pick the right places for me that I thought would sound really good. And after spending about 12 years in the online travel business with sites like Travelocity, Site59, etc., I was still surprised now to find that that problem really hasn't gone away. It's still really hard to figure out where to go to find something that really sounds good to you. So, and why is that? Why hasn't it been solved yet? Well, booking sites are really focused on funneling consumers to purchase the best deal, not necessarily the best experience. And these are just different models. Content sites, they're often designed for search engines rather than humans, and they force us to really wade through a lot of the articles and forums and reviews that are out there. A lot of the planning solutions and sites that you've seen that have come up, they attempt to do a lot, but they kind of force you into sort of a rigid process, and it starts to feel like you're filling out forms, at least from my perspective. And even with a lot of these new kind of Pinterest-style sites, travel sites that are out there, to me it just seems like they're just adding more and more information onto it. And I thought it was time for a change, so I launched TripTuner in October of last year. So wait for it. Here we go. We're going to do a live demo. So the first thing you notice about TripTuner is that it's completely interactive. So you go and adjust. I want relaxing. I'm not taking my daughter with me. I want it to be really warm. I want a beach, and I'm going to get away from it all. And I don't really care what I'm gonna pay here. I'll probably keep it in the middle. And as you notice, results happen immediately. There's no go button. There's no waiting. You can really fine-tune the thing that you want. And there's no reading here, and there's no typing. So we wanted to make it have that kind of game-like, addictive feel. Now, once you select a destination, you can drill down, and you'll get a nice, concise page. Just basically enough information to determine whether you want to go forward or not. What we're trying to do is get people from that inspiration stage down to a few consideration sets. You can easily save your favorites to a wish list. And it's really a simple yet powerful way to attract new visitors. And this is a guy who said, I'm ready to book a trip because of your site. So that was some really good positive validation that we saw. We recently launched hotels, which we'll be fine-tuning some more. There's a lot of innovation, I think, that can happen there with regards to their attributes. And we have an Amazon-like engine for recommending similar destinations. Our themed landing pages offer ideas in one click, and we're going to continue to add more and more tools to make it even more useful. Things like a regional filter so that you can say, if I want to go to Europe, where in Europe should I go based on my interests? We can have a map view so you can find matches around the globe and to put that context and geographical context around things. But the most powerful personalization tool we have is, it knows me, are the sliders. And they're dual mode sliders, and so you can really precisely get to what you want much more quickly. So if you want to escape to a quiet couple's getaway, or for some odd reason you want an all-out kids fest, you can do that, right? Or you can have both, and you can kind of get to that Griswold family style bliss where the kids are having fun and even the parents get some time on their own. So you can mix it up a little bit. So how are we doing on the metric side? Well, we're a young site, but some of the metrics that we are finding is we're bouncing a lot less traffic than your average website. I mean a lot less. So people are engaged, and they're spending well over 5 minutes playing with the sliders, finding new ideas, and it has that addictive quality. And the nice thing is that it's generating well-qualified leads. Now, based on this initial success, we've launched a white label version for destinations to help them show more of the destination and reinforce the brand messaging. And an example is this custom Facebook app that we did for Brand USA. And it really fits in with their mission of attracting more international visitors by showing the diversity of the American travel experience, again, based on their personal interests. And then by highlighting the popular as well as the hidden gems, destinations get equal footing, both the really popular ones as well as the hidden gems. And the nice thing about it is that really any size destination can play. It's completely co-opable, and you can talk to me afterwards about different ways of doing that. Now, on the strength of our partnership with Brand USA, you can also license a custom trip tuner for your site or Facebook app or landing page, and in the future mobile, at a discount. And I'm also pleased to announce, this is the first time we're announcing this live, that our latest partner is Miles Media, who will be helping destinations leverage the trip tuner. So we'll have more people out there explaining all the good things that can happen. So in this election season, I'm asking for your vote. You can engage visitors in a fun way. You can generate really well-qualified leads and show a wider range of experiences, really get people to look and see what it's all about. And even if we don't get your vote, at the very least, I would like you to bookmark our site. We're very excited this Wednesday. Frugal Traveler picked us as one of 10 sites to bookmark. So please check us out. And like I said, ask me if you have any other questions, and thank you very much for your time.
My name is Alishan Kara. I'm the head of business development for Goose Chase. Right before I get started, I just want to thank Jake and eTourism for having us here. It's been a lot of fun. I also want to thank everyone for participating, for those of you who did participate. How many people, show of hands, actually participated in the scavenger hunt, downloaded the application? Fantastic. And also really want to thank the sponsors for being such good sports. I know I created a lot of more wacky missions to try and engage people, so hopefully you guys all had a lot of fun. So today, I just want to quickly touch on what we are, and then pretty much just have some pictures of some more interactive scavenger hunt photos that we have had success with, and then at the end, I'm going to announce the winners for the Goose Chase. So there's 4 winners, and I'm going to actually show you the leaderboard so that there's no questions or concerns about who's won. So quickly, Goose Chase is a tool, a mobile application to create memorable scavenger hunts for individuals. Simply, users go on, they create missions or pick from a list of pre-created missions, add them into a game, pick a start and stop time that's actually automatically pushed to participants, invite users, and sit back and wait. Once the game starts, participants run around, they meet new people, they interact with their environment, engage, complete tasks, gain points, and have a lot of fun. For administrators, you can watch on the back end as participants are completing your tasks in real time. You can see what they're doing, who's competing against whom, and watch the live leaderboard. This gives you a chance to make sure that the integrity of the game is kept alive, and also at the same time post directly to your social media if you're logged in as a Facebook administrator, directly to your social media to show your other fans and followers the scavenger hunt, what you're doing. In terms of tourism, there's tons of applications for me that I personally have noticed over the past couple of days. One major theme that I've noticed for this conference and everyone's talking about is social media and engagement. Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Google+, that sort of thing. And with the exception of Google+, what I've noticed with social media, and as a young man myself, is that even though people feel like they're more connected, truly how connected are we? We have that barrier, that electronic barrier that allows us to talk to anyone and everyone and yet still not create that engagement and interaction that's so important as human beings. And the reason I joined Goose Chase was because I really felt like this was a tool that allowed us as human beings to get back to interacting with one another. I was talking to a lady downstairs right before I came up here, and she said one of the comments she's been hearing a lot over the past couple of days is that individuals have been talking about Goose Chase and saying, I never would have spoken to that sponsor had we not had an opportunity to play the Goose Chase. And that's really important for me because that's a lot of fun to know that humans are getting a chance to interact with humans and not just sticking to cliques when they come to conferences or go to new destinations. Now for travelers, this is a great way, again, to make sure that the people that are coming to your city, so whether it's for a conference or for a vacation or even a trade show, are getting an opportunity to not only interact with their environments through fun missions that are driving them to tourism sites or destinations that you want them to see, but also getting a chance to interact with the locals, the people, the individuals that are putting on the event at these different destinations. So these few pictures here are an example of a conference that we put on in Canada, and the users actually sort of had a hybrid. They wanted an opportunity to interact with their environment as well as the community at large and the people that were participating in the conference. So some quick examples. This is a plank artist, so that's a fad. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it. People just lie still like a board on random things. There are a lot of good pictures of that. This woman had a few pictures she took and kept replacing them. Again, rock, paper, scissors. This was a popular one, a way to interact with somebody at the conference that you didn't know. Candy run, make sure that everyone has a nice piece of candy. Keep sugar, make sure you're alive at the conference. The girly drink, this is one of my favorites and one that everyone participated in. Some of the drinks we saw were hilarious, umbrella drinks, you name it. And that actually fostered a lot of conversation of people approaching people they didn't know and saying, what's in your drink? I'd like to try it, or I'd like to order one for myself. So cool networking tool. Mini putting, so using the objects around you to create a fun game and involving other people. You can see there's a woman on the floor. I don't know why. You don't need 2 people to mini putt. And that's it. If you guys have any questions, I know we're going to sit down and answer some. This is just kind of an arbitrary slide. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly flip over to the back end of our application, and I'm actually going to show you what it looks like for an administrator to see the leaderboard. So you can see here that we have our winner, Patricia. Congratulations. I know you're going to be getting a very cool helmet camera. And then Katie, Seth, and Jayreen, congratulations as well. You guys are all going to be receiving $100 gift cards courtesy of a few of the sponsors. So again, thank you to all the sponsors. And I hope you guys had a lot of fun participating in the Goose Chase. If you have any questions or concerns or just want to talk to me about whether or not I scored this fairly, please come say hi. I've met a few of you, and it's been really nice. So thanks again for having me here, and hopefully everyone enjoys the rest of their conference and get out and see San Francisco a little bit. I'm sure that they would appreciate that. Thanks, guys.
Great. Thank you to our panel. So we have time for Q&A. Do you have a question, Mr. Simon?
First of all, I'd like to thank the sponsors that put up prizes, and that is Aristotle and TripAdvisor and Miles and one other. Sojourn. So just they put up the prizes. So I wanted to thank them for that. So I had a couple questions in terms of costs. Okay, so none of you talked about kind of what it costs to participate, you know, how you monetize what you're doing. So could you basically just one by one talk about how you're monetizing what you're doing?
Sure. So we basically charge per platform. So for an Android app, for an iPhone app, and then there's some additional things that you can do, like layer in events or push notifications. And so it's $7,500 for year 1, and then it's half that for subsequent years. And for states who might have as many as 10, 20, 30, 40 administrators, that's something that we would have to discuss, but it's a way to distribute costs. If we work with the county or work with the state, and you have lots of different cities or different smaller regions involved, that's a way to distribute the cost amongst smaller groups.
$10 billion. No, it's quite simple. It's $75 a month for each channel you want to distribute, and then there are a series of other services you can add on top. I'll be honest, the Flipboard for events we haven't quite figured that one out yet. There is actually a revenue opportunity as well for the CVBs in that, and so we're just working on that one.
So Jed stole my thunder there. I was going to do the Dr. Evil hundreds of dollars, but Anyways, yeah, so we offer some of our licensing programs. They're around $10K for a setup, and then the license, and then a monthly fee. And it's geared a lot towards kind of regional and state level, but as I mentioned in the presentation, it's co-opable. So a local CVB can participate when they go in together on a larger either state or regional program, and then we're also going to be rolling out some programs where you can participate individually, and again, that will vary depending on the level of participation, where you fit within the whole display. So it's a pretty flexible and scalable model.
For us, we really try and create a customized solution for each and every one of the clients that approach us or that we approach. So just as an example, we provide the software as a license to individuals based on users and amount of games played, and they can choose to create the missions, create the game, and administer it themselves, or they can have us come on site, administer the game, create all the missions for them, and make sure that everything runs smoothly. So depending on the level of support, the number of users, and the number of games that a company wants to play, it can range anywhere from a few $100s all the way up to $15,000, depending, again, on the size and the number.
So there's no setup cost with us. Primarily, it's a real-time bidding platform on our mobile solution, so you can set up a campaign very easily and test it at various price points. Depending on the price you bid, you'll get various volume, obviously with all the competition out there. Very easy to set up and primarily driven on cost per click.
Oh. I was just going to say, can you guys tell us a little bit about, I know we just got done with the Facebook, Twitter, YouTube panel, and now we have some very interesting and exciting applications from you guys. Tell us a little bit about the traction you're getting internally. I mean, there's a lot of people in this room saying, yes, that's cool, but I've got limited time. So tell us how you guys are sort of building momentum yourselves.
We'll go back this way.
Either way.
Do you want to just elaborate a little bit more in terms of our advertising solution? Obviously, we're gaining a lot of traction. Well, I'll just speak on how I see it. So the app market space is growing exponentially. We're seeing huge amounts of growth on Apple and Android. Kindle is also growing pretty quickly. And we're finding more and more publishers are coming to us saying, you know, we've got this awesome app and we don't know what to do because it's not getting downloaded. And that's where we come in. We also help with app discovery. And then again, once it gets downloaded, the next question is, well, we're not making any money. So again, we fill both sides on the advertiser side and the publisher side.
For us, we are in a lot of different markets. There's a lot of applicability for a lot of different humans. I don't know why I keep saying humans, but that's what we are, I guess. It's awkward. I think for us, the main thing is that we get a lot of references and repeat customers. Once people actually have an opportunity to participate in a Goose Chase, they really see the value of interaction again. I think that gets lost a lot. So MPI, which was talked about yesterday, has been absolutely massive for us. I know Chris talked about it a little bit, but we've had tons and tons of references and clients that were at MPI and participated and really enjoyed themselves and have come to us, and we see that a lot, whether it's at schools or conferences or trade shows or even just users that have thrown a birthday party for their wives. One of their wives' friends will be like, oh, I own this company. I'd love to have you guys. So we're picking up steam in a ton of different ways.
So with TripTuner, after we launched it as a consumer brand first, and I think that helped us kind of design and focus on what the consumer's needs were. And then soon after that, found that there was some applicability to the B2B side. So we haven't really focused on B2B, or excuse me, consumer direct marketing as such, because we believe that will kind of come a little bit more long term. But so it's mainly on the B2B side, it's direct sales and getting out there, and the traction that we're seeing. With a lot of the qualitative data, when you're a new startup, you don't have a lot of quantity, but you have qualitative data, and we see that people are generally finding new ideas based on their preferences, and the results make sense. And with this recent press that we got and a lot of traffic from the New York Times article, it validated a lot of what that initial data and assumptions were. So.
I actually talk about two stories that happened. One was a CVB that had a lot of local flower shows in their listings database that over the last 3 years, no one had ever looked at. They looked at their numbers, no one had looked at. We started distributing it, and last month, it may not sound like a big number, but they got 12 views on those flower events. Now you take that across the board, all of their events, and it actually comes out to a substantial number. Again, those were 12 views out of state where people looked at a map to see where this thing was going to take place. So that's one example. Another example is we work with a very big pharmaceutical company that has 20 different calendars on their website of different things that a consumer can do with them. These are lectures that they give about their drugs, lectures they give about general health. So in the last year, to those 20 different calendars, they had 400 views. I can't tell you how much they spent on those calendars. You'll be disgusted by it. So since distributing to us, they're now at around 1,400 views to those calendars. So again, there is every one of those events you have in your listing, there's somebody out there that wants it. And the question is, how do we free it from that calendar and get it out there? And that's really those are kind of the numbers we're looking at and what we're trying to help you with.
So on our side, in addition to working with DMOs, we also have our own website and our own application. And so we have some momentum with writers and photographers in particular regions. So I met somebody here from Bellingham, Washington today. We actually have a photographer from Bellingham who's contributed about 700 photographs over the last couple of months, so she's extremely active. We also have a guy from Iowa, I think, who's up to 1,500. So in terms of finding evangelists and really encouraging them to do more, we're able to do that sort of from our central website. And so one example of something with Mendocino County, we recently ran a contest that was simultaneously promoted in our central app and from their application, and they were able to generate hundreds of new writing and photography entries, which they're now using, in their own mobile application and also spinning out to their website for print materials.
Okay. I think that's all we have time for, and I want to thank them. It's great to have these entrepreneurs here that have these ideas, that originated these ideas, and you can, hopefully reach out to them. We have their email addresses and phone numbers, and if you'd like to follow up.